End of the song or 100 people. I think that's all. Thank you guys. Let me always say it again. Gifts are appreciated but not necessary. I'm going to do this regardless. How is everybody on this lovely Monday morning? White Sox, please behave yourself this morning. I've been up since 3:30. So this one won't go past 9:30. Unless something happens, because I need a nap badly. How was everybody's 4th of July weekend? For those who had a long weekend, I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, Tooth Fairy, that's what time I normally wake up. Mister has to go to work. But usually I can go back to sleep. Really, Mama Bear? How are you? Are you safe? I just want to say that I know as a group good overall that we're praying for Texas. It seems like the longer this goes on, the worse it gets. And now they're expecting more rain today, which means any rescue efforts are going to have to stop. But we're also hearing about heroism and people putting their lives on the line to save others in their community, or especially at that camp. So, as sad as it is, we have something to hold on to. Right. Prayers for Texas. Prayers, they said that they call it Flood Alley the way they call the Midwest Tornado Alley, the way they call Florida and the coast Hurricane Alley. I had never heard of that Flood Alley before. But, I pray for them. I pray for anybody affected. I pray for anybody who's been affected just by watching it, because it's been a sad state of affairs. Good morning to everybody. Just welcoming everybody in. So, today we are going to talk about I love my life in God too. I have some corrections to make on what I said the other day. She's still a scammer, don't get me wrong. But when I say something wrong or I feel like I didn't know details, I'm going to tell you. We're going to do Crash Out Tay, Tim and Angela, because they're the hot topic of the month. Timothy, Gigi is back. Jaylyn, because since she thinks I'm a bitch, we're going to keep going. Miss Maggie and her unfortunate night. Asia and Lisa. I left Lisa alone for a whole live, and she just keeps upping the ante. And so I realize a lot of people don't talk about her, but I don't see how I can't. Because my problem is that she's still getting money. Now, she's been getting money from certain people for a long period of time, and they know what's up. But I also think that she's getting money from people who are new to her, who see the messages in the chat and think, oh my God, these people are horrible. Because they don't know any of her story. They just see her crying, talking about how hungry she is. So as long as that's happening, I'm going to talk about her. Because I'm trying to rescue the people who have been donating to her for months. Can't wait to hear about Maggie. Okay, who shall we start with today? Let's start with Crash Out Tay, because this is my first time talking about her. So I've seen her a couple of times, and she reminds me a little bit like Kat or J. Paul. Her being a lesbian woman has nothing to do with it. But I personally believe that she gets money from women because they like her. Wait, let me find the page. Oh, here we go. I am at the right page. So, what upset me about her and why she's made it to the top of the list is because of what she did the other night. Let me see. It was Saturday night. And I'll just tell the story. So she comes online. Yeah, a little bit, Kelly, she does. So she comes online and she's acting panicked a little bit and oh yeah, if I change the photo, please like the live until you see the heart. Keep tapping until you see the heart's tail and fill the tail with hearts and then take a break, please. That's all I ask, because the goal is to get on the FYP. So she comes on in a panic, talking about how she needs $20 for a cab to get out of the hood. And she's talking about how scary it is and how dangerous it is. Mind you, there were a couple of guys, they looked like they were on quad bikes. She turns the camera to them and says, "See how ghetto it is?" Now, my hairs raise a little bit when I see someone in a black community that's calling it ghetto in the hood and scary and dangerous. Because why are you there then? Like, why are you there if you know that it's scary and dangerous and you're the only white person there and you're panicking, begging for $20 for a cab? But she kept talking. She kept talking. And she said that she was kicked out by a friend. Now, let me be clear with you. I don't think it was just a friend. And I'll tell you why. So she proceeds to say that this friend is a rug addict. Wait, she doesn't say that first. Good morning. Good morning to everybody coming in. She says that this friend of hers is only her friend when she has money. Now, problem number one, Crash Out, when do you have money? Because you're always on here begging for money. So are you taking money from the people on TikTok and lying to them about why you need the money? Because you can't say, "I need the money to give it to my friend who's on rugs." You wouldn't get a dime. So why are you giving money that you've gotten, how I'm not sure, to a rug addict? Make that make sense, first of all. Then she says the friend kicked her out because when she doesn't have any more money, that's what the friend does. So that's not a friend, boo. But you've been there in the hood, in this dangerous place for days. But now that she kicked you out, it's dangerous? Right, Rissa. It's dangerous now? And she just kept saying over and over and over again, "Just give me $20. I got to get out of here. It's scary. It's dangerous." Like I said, she turned the camera to some guys on some quads. Mind you, this is July 4th weekend. She tried to say that, like, you would hear a boom in the background and she would be like, "See?" And we were like, "That's fireworks, girl. Go sit down somewhere." Go sit down somewhere. And she doxed her location. I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to say she was in the state of Virginia. But please go sit down somewhere. It was fireworks. It was July 4th weekend. But then I was like, well, can somebody send you a Lyft or an Uber? Wouldn't that be cheaper? No. Whenever I hear anybody say that it has to be a cab, I have questions. Really, listen, please go sit down somewhere, because then a friend of hers named Maddie comes into the live and she's like, Maddie, can you send me $20 and can I come stay with you? And I'm only going to need one night because I'm going to get in touch with my dad and maybe he can help me. What you mean maybe? What you mean maybe? And if your dad can help you, why can't he help you right now? Maddie was like, But Maddie wasn't so quick to say yes. And Maddie didn't send that $20 as far as I know. Now, for anybody who's new here, you can see I have her name and her @ They happen to be the same thing, but I was trying to be thorough. Don't listen, she say anything. Don't take my word for it. Write it down and go watch her for yourself. In fact, if you go to her account right now, she has the latest video that I saw last night was her quote unquote in the hood asking for the $20. She got off her live because she realized she wasn't going to get jack diddly squat in that live. So she ended it and then did a video. So go check it out. So then wait, hold on. The problem is that I remember these stories, so I have to look and see if I missed anything. So she said she needed a ride home. Where's home? You were just asking Maddie to stay with her. And then she said, oh, it's another friend of mine's house. So then I'm like, why are you there if you're afraid? This her. I'm not afraid of nothing. I'm not afraid of shit. So then why are you crying about how you need to get out of there because it's scary and dangerous? Do you see, like, the moment you challenge her about her bravado, you challenge her ego a little bit, and she reveals the truth. She's not afraid of shit. She's not afraid to be there. She wanted $20. Then as she's walking, she's like, oh my God, they're looking at me funny. And so for me, she was playing into, I'm a white girl in a black neighborhood, and so I'm afraid, so get me out of here. That's what I felt like. And I don't like when people play them games. Because, A, you make an entire community look like they're going to do something to you because you're a white girl. And 2, why are you there if it's scary? Why are you playing into the trope that you're in the hood and so it's automatically dangerous for you because you're white? Why are you there if it's dangerous, ma'am? But in the same breath say you're not scared of shit. Which one is it? And then she was like, all it takes is $20. It's not that much. Well, bitch, go get it. Go work for it and get it. Because that's what everybody in the chat has done. So if it's not that much, go get it. She said, that's all I'm asking for. Then it was, I'll pay you back whenever I get money. Again, from where? From where? Rissa, she is so full of crap. Because she wants to look hard. She wants to look like she's all these things. But then at the same time, cry. Really? You think she gets SSI? Huh. I'm going to write that down. We're going to start keeping track of people who have SSI. Sorry. Yes, because she kept saying her caseworker, this caseworker, that. That doesn't mean that she has SSI, but we will still be watching. That was when she was in a hotel. Okay. A caseworker doesn't necessarily, like, you... A caseworker doesn't come from SSI. Let me just put it that way. But she could, in fact, have a caseworker. So she ended the live. That's where it ended. Oh, okay. I get it, Rissa. She might have, what do they call it, a payee? Someone who manages the money, because otherwise they wouldn't manage it well at all. But we'll see. She's definitely on the list. For sure. Let's go to my correction. Now, she's a beggar. I'm not going to say that she's not. She absolutely is. But I have to make some corrections because she provided some proof. So at this point, Saturday, she still needed candy. Candy, thank you. Let that be all. Appreciate you. So she at this point still needed $125, which means she had already collected a little bit. Good morning. But I remember her saying she was going to be put out on the 5th, which was Saturday. And she was, in fact, sitting outside, but it didn't sound like she had been put out yet. So she played a recording of her talking to a higher level manager. And so that it is, in fact, true that she didn't get paid and everybody else did. That is true. That's a fact. So that's correction number 1. Because I was questioning why would everybody else get paid and not her. But that is, in fact, the truth. So correction number 1. What it looks like happened was that there was an issue with they do a fingerprint clock in and a fingerprint clock out, and for some reason it wasn't working, so that they had to fill out a paper and she had to sign it and the manager had to sign it, and for some reason everybody else got paid but her. And I think it was 48 hours that she didn't get paid for, which is a lot. But she then also explained that her and her manager have had issues, like major issues. She said she thought they worked it out, and then 2 weeks later, he was back at it. And she had been telling him, he's picking on her. And so that's what she says she believes is the reason. But the reason for me doesn't really matter. She didn't actually get paid the amount of money. And so that's not her fault. And it's in fact true. So again, I want to make it clear that I retract all my statement. Well, all I said was, why would she be the only person who didn't get paid? But still, she proved it, so I take it back. She was telling the manager, like, I'm going to be homeless this weekend. What is your apology going to do for me? And blah, blah, blah. And like she said, she saw red at that point. She was just going off. She also acknowledged that her reaction to it was out of pocket. She says it was her fault. She recognizes that things would have gone maybe smoother had she not been on 10. So, fair enough. All of us get upset at some point. Some of us see red. And I know when I see red, it's on and popping. Like, don't ever let me blank out. I try not to do that anymore as I've matured in life. But don't let me see red. And so one of the things that happened was, I guess the turn-in was supposed to be Monday. They realized the error on Tuesday, but because of the short week, they didn't have enough time to process it in time to give it to her on Thursday. And it was the holiday weekend. And that he couldn't even promise that she'd have it Monday because of the holiday weekend. And so at that point, she was kind of laughing at herself, like, and apologizing, like, guys, I went off the deep end. Like, I recognize that this is my fault. My reaction was my fault, etc., etc. But then she starts to explain some other things. Apparently, this is an old motel that was converted into like studio apartments, which I think is an awesome thing. If there's a motel, especially one that isn't getting a lot of business or is being used for a criminal element and there are homeless people, thank you, Candy. Wait till I find you live, baby. You and I are going to have another date. If you have a homeless population, you just pulling stuff out the woodworks that nobody has ever seen. I see you. And I'm going to match your energy. So that's what they did. I think that's great for if you have a homeless population to do that. But when she was moving in, she admits that she didn't read the lease, or at least the last 3 pages. If you are still moving along in life, I don't care how long it takes you to read something that you're putting your signature to. Read every single word. Don't be in a rush. And if you have to rush that day, don't do it. When I go to the doctor and they like sign this, I read every word. If they have to wait until the end of my appointment to get the paperwork back, that's what'll happen. I read every word. So, in not reading the lease thoroughly, she not only signed but initialed a clause that said that if she was late on the rent, she acknowledges that they can put a padlock on her door until she pays it. So that's why she could be outside without due process, as we would think. Like, we're like, oh no, he has to take her to court. That's why. She signed the lease and didn't read it, that they could put a padlock. So then listen to the hustle. Listen to the hustle. So then she goes to her landlord and says, my stove isn't working. My toilet is giving me problems. There's a leak or something in the shower. You should take that off my rent. Now, my question is, when you had the money, did you report those things? Now, in the state of North Carolina, you cannot withhold rent. I did some research. I should have did it. Maybe I'll do it on Wednesday, where I'll show you guys what it says. But you can also, there's a provision where you could pay for it and then take it out of the rent. But she waited until I'm not going to say she didn't report it before, but she wanted him to take the entire $250 off because of the problems. But he made a deal. I'll take $125 off. It still doesn't say it's going to get fixed. But that's why she was down to $125. Because he took it off. According to her. Lady Hatchet, you could go to court and do that, but that would still take time. And it wouldn't stop the padlock. That's the problem. Renting is a struggle. I've been a renter and an owner, and it is a struggle. I was a young owner, and so I hadn't accumulated enough wealth to be able to pay the mortgage without the tenant. It wasn't even the mortgage. It was everything else. Because, they add in your insurance and your taxes. And the taxes are estimated. And if your tax bill is higher than the estimate, the company comes to you and is like, we got to double it next year. It's a lot. But because they are probably primarily dealing with people who may have been homeless before, they know the ups and downs, and so they added that clause. And it was up to you to read it, reject it, say I'm not moving in here, or walk away. Now again, she told us and said that was her fault. That was her fault. Yeah, being a landlord is difficult. Being a landlord is difficult. My father owned a property that a friend gave him in her will. So he wasn't even the owner for very long. And there was an electric fire in the wall that nobody could have foreseen. And it was during Christmas time. And the girl got put in a hotel. She was able to collect Christmas presents. And she still dogged my father out in the news. Like, how could he foresee an electric fire in the wall? He wasn't even the owner that long. So, but then again, people who see a mother with kids and her apartment burns up during Christmas are going to have empathy for her, right? I did. I just didn't like the fact that she dragged my father's name through the mud for something he couldn't have foreseen. But whatever. It's difficult on both ends. So here comes the beg. It's 40 people in here. If everybody sent $1, I'd have $40. And then she said the thing that pissed me off. She said, it's $1. It won't hurt you. Excuse me? How do you get to determine whether $1.50 or a penny, a dollar would hurt you? It is the audacity of it all for me. What do you mean it won't hurt you? Right, Marlis, they all try that. Because when you think, oh, I've lost $1 in my couch, I've wasted $1 on such and such, I'll spend $25 to get McDonald's. What's $1? But in this economy, every dollar matters. And this is the thing. There are people who will go broke helping somebody else who won't help them back. But they have services. You don't. So when you don't have any food in your refrigerator, they have EBT. You can't get it. They don't have a car payment, an insurance payment. But you do. So a little while later, after she did this beg, she was in a restaurant begging for food. And somebody said, didn't you just get $65 or something like that? She ignored it, of course, and proceeded to order her food. They don't care. For all we know, her rent is paid and she just sits outside. If she was laying in her bed asking, people would be like, well, you still in the house. She didn't show us a padlock on her door. She also indicated that she was using her neighbor's Wi-Fi. Is that why she had to be outside? But my question is, you have phone conversations with your boss that you were able to call on a device and then in another device record it. How did you do that? It is becoming an epidemic on TikTok where people see other people get money and think, I got a good sob story. Now, I'm not talking about people who actually have a dip in circumstances. And it may take them a little while. I'm talking about people who, even when they get enough help to get out of their circumstances, and they still find a reason to come back. She went from homeless and no job to having a job and no longer being homeless. And yet, the beg doesn't end. Now she has a job. Has she offered to pay anybody back when she gets the money? Because she's going to get it. Of course not. Because she's not going to bother to lie and say, I'll pay you back, when she knows she has no intentions on doing so. Now, her payment app had her name as Skylar, I think. I took a photo. But when she was ordering the food, she told them like Misha. So I don't know if Misha's a nickname, if Skylar is somebody else's payment app. I don't know. But I'm going to just go with I love my life and God too, because that's how she's known on TikTok. Tina, I'm not sure. I'll be honest, I'm not sure. But that would be hilarious. So while I had corrections, I'll still be watching. Because I want to watch long enough to see what happens when she gets the money from this check. Mona Lisa, some of them are absolutely to blame. In Maggie's case, they are absolutely to blame. Lisa's case, exactly. But a lot of people are just scrolling TikTok and they come across somebody sitting outside and they think, wow, and what's she going to eat if she's locked out? And so they think, what's $20? I'll waste $20, going in Target for one thing and coming out with $40 worth or $100 worth. I can help somebody eat. They don't understand. Uh-oh. What happened? No, Mama Bear, I didn't. Y'all keep it respectful in here. Mods don't play that. So, let's see. Who are we going to do next? Let's do Gigi. So, there was a time that I talked about Gigi consistently because when I came across her, y'all know how my spidey senses go off, and my spidey senses went off on her immediately. She was in the hospital, and she was saying that the man who kidnapped her and trafficked her came up to her and hit her from behind, and like the story did not make sense. And I came to y'all and I was like, red flag on the play. Something about this doesn't make sense. And then sometime later, she does this live where she apologizes to everybody and tells them that her therapist helped her see that every time she gets hurt, she blames it on him because that's what she thinks. And again, I called BS. Because how could the therapist tell you? She wasn't there. So how'd she know if it was him or not? And while it was happening, I'm asking questions like, did you call the police and blah, blah, blah. And she would be like, why? I've called 77 times and they've done nothing. And then she said he was a part of a cartel. And I was like, cartels don't leave witnesses. It was just total BS. So when she came out with that apology, I was like, girl, try being done with somebody else. And so since then, she kind of went away from her story for a little while because she got exposed like crazy. Dora came in here and told us all about her fascination with that serial DVer and unaliver. And she tried to deny it, but they had proof. And something like that would be so triggering. In part because if you trip, you feel like you're back there, but you could sit there and listen to all the vile things that man did. You could write them and talk to them, but that, like, whatever. And I'm going to talk about triggering in a minute. Because old Tim pissed me off again. But then Gigi went back to her story. And she has these private lives that you have to subscribe for, and she'll talk about her story. The reason why she won't spend a lot of time talking about it publicly is because so many people have blown holes through it. Her sisters have blown holes through it. So she wants a private place to be able to say whatever she wants, embellish the story, change the story, and she has people in there that aren't going to challenge her. Good morning, Disturbed One. Yeah, Wade Wilson. And so that's what she prefers. But to get people caught up, or to get them to follow her and subscribe, she tells part of the story. And she always, I mean, she goes live and that story, routine comes out every time. But she also uses it to sell from her boutique. She also uses it to sell TikTok shop items. And that's where I have a problem. You are getting women who may also be in the situation, have been in the situation, who may have been in real situations that you lie about. You get them caught up in your story and then sell to them. I understand. So the other day, she was saying that she gets grants to help the homeless in her community get hotels and shelters and any of their other expenses, but because getting them into long-term rehab is difficult. Has anybody seen her do that? I haven't. But has anybody else? They have dropped drastically. Like, this is my first time even hearing about it. Now, I'm not saying that she would need to dox people or show people's photos, but there's a whole lot you could show. You could show your grant award letter to prove it. And I honestly feel like that's the kind of thing she embellishes. She goes out and she helps the homeless, maybe within an organization that already got a grant, and suddenly the grant becomes hers. But I'm sorry, Gigi. You need to show me proof because I don't believe it. I believe it. I shouldn't say that. I believe it when I see it. But all through this now, she's saying that she used to use H and F, that she had been arrested 67 times, that she's been to federal prison and state jail. And this was the story, this was the line that was like, you're going back on the list. She said she has never scammed, hello, she has never scammed another person. What? What you mean? She said, I've never scammed another person. And then she added a caveat the second time she said it. She said, I've never scammed another person. I just robbed them. No, individuals can get grants. But why she would get a grant to help the homeless is beyond me. But you've never scammed another person, you just robbed them? Yes, she does, Erica. Right. Robbing somebody is better? And that's what I'm like, the twisted stories. What do you mean? And you absolutely have scammed people on here. Like Erica just said, she used to, I don't know if she still has it, but she had a video where she had bruises all over her face and her chest and everything. And boy, does she like to show her chest on lives. My goodness. And it was all makeup. And that was like her pinned video. That might be true, Joanne. And it's funny because in your live, you'll get an alert that like somebody's subscription is ending. She will not let that pass by. She will not let, she'll be like, such and such, your subscription benefits are ending. And she'll do it over and over and over again. You never scammed anybody, you just robbed them? Well, when she was in the hospital with the broken arm, she told everybody she had back surgery. Mind you, she claimed she had back surgery, but hadn't taken her makeup off in 3 days. Where they do that at? You can, and I had surgery recently. They tell you to take a shower the night before with antibacterial soap, the morning of with bacterial soap, that your pets cannot sleep in the bed with you. When you get there, they give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They give you 6 towels to wipe off each limb, your stomach, your private area, and then they do your back. And that's all before you get into surgery. And you want me to believe you had major back surgery but had the makeup on for 3 days and it looked that good? Again, that's what when I'm telling you, my spidey senses spiked so fast when I started listening to her. Mind you, it was a procedure in her back. It wasn't back surgery. And that makeup was done that morning. But you don't scam people? That entire conversation, that entire live, that entire period of time was a scam. Right, no makeup, no polish, no nails, no nothing. But you had on that makeup for 3 days. But you robbed them. So thanks for being honest about the fact that you robbed people. And then she added, well, I scammed doctors. So which sentence is true, Gigi? She said she would doctor shop and, get a hold of their prescription pads, etc. People like her are the reason why they did away with handwritten prescriptions and went digital. Now there's nothing to steal. So then again, she's telling this story with all of her products behind her and was like, I was trafficked, I was RP'd, I was captured, then I got in the hospital and I was RP'd by a tech and there was a huge settlement. But wasn't she taken out of that settlement? So yes, it happens to other people, and they were a part of that settlement, but she wasn't. She wasn't. She's still doing the same mess. Even though her numbers have declined, she knows that new people are coming in, which is why she tells that story. People like her are the reason why many of us chronic illnesses can't get meds. Correct. Correct. People with real issues, I remember, because y'all know I have bone on bone knees. I used to get an adequate amount of pain relief. I have adjusted to what I have now. But now they used to give for a headache. And what's crazy is your pain could be extreme. Even like right now, it's the rainy season in Florida. Do you think they give a damn? No. Because they care about their licenses more than they care about your pain. And I'm not mad at that. Like, why should you use your license because somebody's playing with you? But they don't care. Right, date. Like, what? And they make you be the manager of it all. So I get pain meds from my not my PCP, from my pain management doctor, right? When I had that major surgery, while I was in the hospital, the surgeon managed my pain. But I had to make sure that they didn't write me another prescription because I have a prescription. Like, that was on me to make sure it didn't happen. Right? Then, when the doctor where I received pain management from switched, they moved my pain management doctor to another location. Same business though, same address. Do you know that the pharmacy didn't want to fill it because they said I was switching doctors? Mind you, I hadn't switched doctors for like 3 years? 3 or 4 years? And he didn't even leave the company, but he switched locations so that a new doctor was there. But they put that on me like I was doctor shopping. They did absolutely nothing to try to verify it. A phone call to them couldn't suffice. Christy, I know I'm terrified of that. The pharmacy tech couldn't make a single phone call to find out. Correct. Mind you, you have to be rug tested every single month. Which annoys me because I've been going to the same practice since 2017 and have never had a dirty. Never. Not even close. Not even a number that was questionable. And I'm still doing it. Every single month. Like I'm the problem. It's ridiculous. And when I see the documentaries or the movies about what happened and how it got so far out of control, I understand the need to put some controls over it. But people who want to get it on the street are going to get it. It's not us going to the doctor anymore. It used to be, but it's not anymore. It's gone from one extreme to the other. Exactly. Correct, Andrea. And the pharmaceutical company is just is as much to blame. And the lack of oversight in the state of Florida, when literally people were opening pain management companies and they weren't even doctors, and the pharmacies were were accepting the scripts. But that wasn't ever the real patient's problem. And if I had a doctor that continued to give me scripts at a ridiculous rate, and then when they thought that I was using too much, took it away and created the need so that they went to the street for it, that's still not my fault. That's still not our fault. But we're paying the price. Anyway, my rant for the morning. I apologize. But Gigi, I still see you. I see what you're doing. They have the ability to do that too here in the States. Asia, Asia, Asia. So, I wake up super early. And unfortunately, after I do some Bible reading, I look at TikTok to see who's on. Because a lot of them are using odd hours to avoid us. Asia was up extremely early this day, like super early. And I realized that part of why she was probably up so early was that she needed money for her hotel room at 11. And she didn't want to have to check out and check back in. Mind you, just Wednesday, we saw that someone had given her $512 that allowed her to go to this hotel, and she was still begging. But anyway, she was up early, and the first thing she said was, I'm on here because I need somebody to send me breakfast. And it wasn't any breakfast. She wanted homemade fried chicken and macaroni and cheese. She wasn't asking for some pancakes and and home fries. She wasn't asking for cereal. And it was funny because someone in her chat was like, I'm having cereal for breakfast. She didn't want that. Now, I try to be reasonable, and I was thinking, well, maybe if she gets like chicken and waffles and macaroni and cheese, she could like have brunch and dinner. But I don't know why I'm trying to make excuses for her. So in this first live, because she did several, there was only one person sending her gifts. And while she was thankful, she was angry about it. Why is only one person sending gifts? What's wrong with the rest of y'all? The audacity. And at the same time, she's like, I'm super hungry. I'm super hungry. My stomach. Ugh. And I need money for the room. Mind you, I changed the photo because I want you to look at those nails. I took a few pictures of those nails. Now, could they be press-ons? Possibly. Do I think that they're press-ons? Absolutely not. I'm a weirdo, but I was paying very close attention. And when I went in, I said, "Oh, your nails are beautiful." She ignored the comments and kept trying to hide her nails after that. She eventually forgot and started showing them again. And that's when I caught this photo. But they are not press-ons. Not by any stretch of the imagination. They're beautiful. Those aren't press-ons. And nowadays, getting acrylic put on, like I remember when you could get the whole thing done for like $25. That's not the case now. Oh, Erica, I am a press-on girly because I'm not spending that amount of money for nails that might pop off in a day. And that's why I'm saying those aren't press-ons. And believe me, my hands will look beautiful. Right, it's 25 to just walk in. Exactly right. I'm used to go in 25, give them a $5 tip. You was out. $30 acrylic nails. I remember when I used to have to travel all the way to New York to get it done because we didn't have any shops in my area in Connecticut. You do. I'm a faithful press-on nail girly. And now you have actual acrylic. I will never buy them from Carrie Wells. But when you're a good press-on girl, you know quality. And let's be clear. When I'm not trying to be serious, you think I don't got a bunch of Temu and she nails in here? And you think I can't make them look good? Of course I can. They don't look that good, though. They don't last as long as she's had them on. What I love about press-ons, though, is one pop off, I keep some glue in my purse and press them right back on. That's why I like them. Some of the people on here, okay. I like bougie on a budget too. Cause for what? Why else? But if I'm homeless, that's what I'm gonna spend money on, and that's why I say the audacity. Hair braided down to her, all the way down her back. She loves not to do her edges because she thinks that hides the freshness of them braids. Girl, you good. I pop them off all the time. You must use the good glue. Dana spends quality money on the glue. But if you get real acrylic press-ons and good glue, they can last a long time. You could pop a can of Coke open. Not when you dealing with $1.99 nails from Shein, though. Sorry. That ain't gonna work. But making my hands look great, I could do it. My man gonna kill me. I got another package out for delivery. So then she says, I'm not feeling it. Nobody's gifting anymore. She's like, I need to find someone that could help me out. She doesn't want cereal. That's when somebody commented that they were having cereal for breakfast. She wanted homemade fried chicken and mac and cheese. What did I write? I can't even read. I said she has multiple something, of course. Oh, she has multiple devices. That's what I wrote. And I wrote, she has multiple devices, of course. How comes all of them that are begging have so many devices? Somebody's house for breakfast. Then she always threatens to restart the live. She'll be like, I'm going to restart the live because nobody's in here gifting. Nobody's sending to my payment apps. I'm just not feeling this live. I bet you're not. I bet you're not. That's true. All they need is Wi-Fi. But it's still concerning. You need to eat, but having multiple devices is more important. I'm with you. Okay. And then she said out her mouth, I went live because I have a goal that someone was going to send me breakfast. And at one point she was like, Chipotle would be nice. You got on live because your goal was to get somebody to send you breakfast, and those were the words that came out of your mouth? And then she said, and to have someone pay for the room. I need it by 11. So she eventually ended that live. And she restarted immediately. Now this is what was funny. And this is when I left, I think. Yeah, I left at this point. This is what was hilarious. The same 18 people that were there before were the same 18 people that came back. And it was the same one person giving her money. But what I also equally don't like is the creepy men that go into these girls' lives that look a little young. Hey, sugar. No, she was somewhere last night. She kept saying it wasn't a shelter, but I thought it looked like a shelter. I'm going to be honest. And I asked, and other people asked, like, are you at a shelter? And she kept saying no. But I never understood why, if she was at a hotel, why she had to hide her camera. You definitely have to at a shelter because no, they don't want anybody else's face seen. It's for privacy reasons. But when I said it, people were like, no, she's at a hotel. So I don't know. But I thought she was at a shelter too. Good morning to everybody coming in. And for everybody who's came in, but I didn't say good morning. For me, it's the audacity. It's the audacity. It's the expectation. It's the unthankful, ungrateful grift. It's all of the things. It's the lack of a moral compass. And it's the lack of desire to do anything else but beg. Like when you got $512 from that lady, you had enough money to keep a room long enough that you could have found a job so that by the time that money ran out, you were able to take care of yourself. Instead, you went and got your hair and nails done. That was more important. But who are your nails and hair done for? Because you spend almost all day begging. Maybe you go out at night and party. I don't know. But I was just raised, like, I worked all week to have money to party. Like, I did what I had, and I had a kid. And I remember looking at all my friends being a little bit envious. Like, they would get a job at Wendy's and then quit. Like, I didn't feel like going to work today, I quit. And I would be like, dang, I can't do that. I got a son I have to have medical insurance for. Like, I would go out Sunday night and regret it every Monday morning. But I wanted to be where my friends were. They didn't have responsibilities. I did. She does have a backup page. I showed it before, but she does absolutely have a backup page. But guess what? She's not going to do anything differently so that the things that got the first page taken, the second page will be taken, and on and on and on will go. Because she too is hoping to find somebody dumb enough to send her money. Or ignorant to everything. But the problem is if they stay in her life for any length of time, they're going to either send it because they think she's being bullied, or they're not going to send it if her sons are around because they're outrageous, especially the younger one. It does, and she goes to another one. Gets taken down all the time. Okay. Today is the day, y'all. Today is the day. So remember last week when he was supposed to get paid on Wednesday, he said that he had to open a bank account and that he would have access to the money today. Let's see. Yes, everybody tap. Thank you, Erica, for reminding everybody. Change the photo. Tap until you feel the heart's tail. And I do it for 2 reasons. One is to prevent them from being able to take my live down, because it lets TikTok know that you are enjoying the content, and that just because a few people are sending things saying that I'm doing bullying and harassment, even though I'm only telling what I see and offering my opinion, which is allowed. It's not harassment and bullying. It is commentary on what's happened on TikTok. It also helps us get to the For You page, which is my goal, because while a lot of us know exactly who I'm talking about, what I'm talking about, and what we all already collectively know, the goal is to see if anybody from the FYP page gets to see it and we can prevent them from being caught up. That's the ultimate goal. Because it's great to talk to like-minded people, right? It helps us understand that we're not the crazy ones. There are just as many like-minded people as me, and I enjoy that a lot. Y'all will still see me jump into a live. I try not to just sit there. If I don't have nothing else to say, I get down. We all know I have more to say. I just get down. And I love that, because it's like, boom, I'm not the crazy one. Other people see it exactly as I do, or at least enough of it that I feel very comfortable with my thought process. But when I'm here doing my thing, it's for the FYP, baby. I'm trying to stop people who may have given once, who may be thinking about giving, who's new to TikTok and is at risk of giving. That's what these 3 hours are for. And y'all too. I'm not going front. But when people tell me they're from the FYP, or when I look at the analytics at the end and I see that 45% of the people came from the FYP and not from following me, chef kiss. Love it. Love it. Wait, what happened? Thank you. Thank you for the gift. If I missed any, thank you guys for the gifts. So, today's the day. It'll be funny if he comes on today at all. But, as usual, they either get sloppy, like everybody knows they're coming into money, so they stop hiding the truth. They stop caring, or they forget. It's one of the three. But little by little, he's been letting certain things slip, or his background slip, or something that lets you know that the circumstances aren't real. So I remember when he was begging for the boots for this job that he says he has, he was dead in the woods. You didn't see a single thing but wooded area, right? And I'm sleeping outside and I don't have a tent and I don't have anything and blah, blah, blah. But the question was always like, why did you go from a city area where there were a lot of resources around to this wooded area? Like, it never made sense to me, right? And then I think the next thing that I saw, or that I remember seeing, I should say, is him sitting on like a ledge of a house being built. And I was like, they building houses in that area. They don't usually build one house in the woods, right? It's usually, nowadays, there is community planning. Unless it's an individual building a house. But it just did it because of who he is. I was like, that's not just one random house he found getting built in the woods. Then the next thing I remember is he was in the woods, or the background was the woods, but then we started to hear people around him. And he tried to say, oh, I'm at my buddy's house that I work with, but he doesn't really know my situation and I don't want him to know it, so I'm out in the woods. But what happened was, when he said he had to go tinkle, he didn't mute fast enough, or he didn't pause the live fast enough, and that's how we heard people in the background. So we had to come up with a story about why. But those is the same woods you've been showing all this time. And then on Saturday morning or afternoon, I don't remember which one, but it was Saturday, you're sitting there sitting in front of a trailer. And not only are you sitting in front of the trailer, you have a cup of water, milk, beer, alcohol, I don't know what. But it was a tumbler. Sir, you've gone from looking like you are homeless, tracking your path through the woods, to sitting in front of a trailer with a tumbler drinking, which clearly came out of the trailer you were sitting in front of. Crying about the fact that you were so hungry you didn't know what you were going to do. So the person who gave you the tumbler of water didn't have any food either? Oh, Miriam, that's funny. Good morning. What? Like, make it make sense. And again, y'all, in all this time of homelessness and no work, he is lying when he says he doesn't have EBT, food stamps, SNAP, whatever you want to call it, and Medicaid. He's lying. Of course he does. Because how does he keep having these hospital visits and no bill? He used to lie in Pennsylvania and say he had a grant. The grant paid for doctors and hospitals and everything else, but not his medication. He was lying. If they're going to give you cancer treatment and that's who's covering you, they're going to include the medications too. Because why one and not the other? How does one help you but not the other? And when he went to Tennessee, he wasn't even seeing an oncologist anymore. But who's writing the prescriptions for the seizures and everything else? You have to see them on a regular basis nowadays for them to keep giving you a script. Who's paying for it? He keeps lying, saying he was denied. For what reason? Does he ever give us a reason why? It's a whole new state. What's the reason? Right, he's clean and sober. Yeah, okay. So then he tried to tell us that his check was $800, that that's all it was, and that when he gets it, he's going to have to spend 6 of it on tools, so that's only going to leave him with $200. And then he embellished from only missing 2 days of work to missing 3 days of work, and they had to take out of his very first check all of his uniforms. Uniform where? Show me a uniform. I call BS too. I think 8 months ago was when he OD'd. And maybe in his mind, ODing is being an addict. But when you can manage it, you're not an addict. You're just an occasional user. My ex that we call the rackhead, even though he wasn't using rack, used to use his DOC when he would get together with his friends, and he didn't think there was anything wrong with that. Like, he was like, we're just partying. That makes you not an addict? Because every day when you get together with your friends, you're just partying, or every other day, or every weekend? That makes you not an addict? Harley, for the big one. Exactly. Yeah, listen, in this day and age, we are living sometimes over our means or at our means. And with everything getting so expensive, what used to be able to pay, like, let's just use food. You used to be able to buy $200 worth of food, and that could last you a month. Now you're happy if it lasts you a week. Oh, we gonna get to her, Forever Me. Please stick around. Or days. That's if you got growing babies, it's days. I remember thinking my grocery bill was ridiculous when my son was, growing up, especially towards his teenage years. Him and his friends would raid. I used to have to hide food, like soda and snacks, in my bedroom closet with a locked door, because they would go through it like they had never eaten a day in their life. But I love the fact that my house was the house everybody went to. I just had to stop being dumb and only like letting it be a ration. Like, this is how much y'all can have today. But now we've missed 3 days and we've spent so much on uniform. Show us the uniform. First of all, show us the boots that people paid for. How about you do that? Show us the boots and then show us said uniforms. Because then maybe we'll believe you work. And I don't want to see a shirt. No, a shirt ain't going to be enough. I want to see a whole outfit. Because we did the math here. Ain't no way his check should be $800. Even missing 3 days instead of the 2 he said originally. But when you can't keep stuff like that straight, and he's going to say, I don't owe anybody proof. You do if you want to keep getting money. You absolutely do. And people who understand that they're going to need to continue to ask, show proof. They are happy to show proof. When they're living in a hotel and that's what they're asking money for, they show us the hotel room, don't they? When they don't want to be labeled a scammer, shout out to Tim. They show us that they're in the hotel room. But then want to say, I'm not obligated to show proof. You show it all the time. But when they've gotten money for something specific that they lied about, suddenly they don't need to show us proof. Has he ever shown you the medication that he takes? When he gets the money for it? Ever? Child, he can't show clean hands. When do he wash his hands? No, they're not interested in resources. And there's several reasons why. A, because they're looking for cash for rugs or alcohol or whatever reason they want money for, right? They really just want cash. They don't want resources. But 2, resources require that they check in and show proof. If you're saying that you're staying at a hotel, they want to see a hotel bill or they pay the hotel directly. Because they know that people used to be honest and now they're not. You have to establish residency. So you have to get an ID. So what do? They refuse to get an ID because then they can continue to lie on TikTok about not having resources. But then if they get an ID, then people who may be looking for them now know where they are. Homeless people who want resources go get a free ID so that they can get resources. Why would you move to an entirely different state without any of the documentation that you would need to prove who you are? Why? He's not young. Good morning. He knows how it works. Remember when Wesley said he couldn't get EBT? He couldn't get food stamps? He couldn't get medical? Remember that month-long diatribe of him refusing? And only when the money started to slow down did he bother to try to get the resources. And then he came back after he got it. Well, remember, he applied for it, got it, but had to get downtown to get it. And that took days. That took days. And then when he got it, he comes back and he's like, I got it. Oh, there was no shelter, and then I got it. Now, I don't talk about him anymore because he has changed. And I've always said when they change, I will not negatively talk about them. They won't be a subject of a live. I leave it alone. And you haven't heard me talk about Wesley in a concerted way since. But I do remember when he kept saying he couldn't and it wouldn't work and we didn't know what we were talking about. But suddenly it's all worked out. And now, at the last time I watched him, he was looking forward to getting training to be able to get a job. The miracle pad. Hilarious. Exactly. We never know what we're talking about until they get it. And then they will deny that we knew what we were talking about even still. Listen, Cindy Lou, I need you to send me a message. We need to talk. Oh, Tebow was live. Oh my God. That whining story he used the other day, he almost ended up on the list. But there's so many others. I can't do everybody. But he was like, I'm lonely and I don't have anybody. And I work every day and I don't have money to feed my dog, but I give him human food and I know that's not good for him. But now I don't even have any food to feed myself. Give up the dog. You can't afford it, give up the dog. But you are always showing us that you're working. And now I'm thankful I have a roof over my head. If you don't have enough money to pay for the roof over your head, go get EBT or whatever they have in Canada. Give up the dog. If you cannot feed your dog, which is a basic of having them, and you can't find resources that will assist you, give them up. But stop whining to TikTok about why you need to feed your animal. I'm sorry. I used to be like, well, if you're homeless, it's good to have an animal because they are a protection, they are a source of comfort, etc. But I'm tired of it now. I followed you back, baby. Send me a message. So here we are at Monday. On the weekend, you were still begging for money for food outside of the trailer that you probably live in with your girlfriend. I'll be waiting for you, Timothy. Anybody that sees him, please send me that he's live. If I don't see it for myself. Please. Because I'm going to be here waiting for Monday afternoon. And we'll hear what the excuse is. Oh, well, because of the holiday, they said it was going to take another day, so I won't get access to it until Tuesday, and I'm still hungry, and I still need my medication. Whatever. We're prepared. We're prepared for whatever the BS will be now. We're prepared. Because if they wouldn't have been able to process it on Monday, the bank knows they closed on Friday. If they wouldn't have been able to process it until Tuesday, they'd have told you that when you went in on Thursday morning. Proud fire wife, 110%. Of course. Because we may not want to feed a grown man or a grown woman, but we will want to feed babies and animals. 110%. Look, J. Paul got caught feeding her dog's gravy train, but she asked for between $30 and $50 because she figured out that there was a food that cost that much. Hey, members. So, yeah. We waiting, Timothy. Jalen, since I'm a bitch that you had to block, because you couldn't think of the idea of us having a conversation, as if that's going to stop me from talking about you. And then she went to somebody, I guess, in awareness to try to talk about me. Who gonna stop me, baby? I don't care who you talk to. There ain't a single soul that's gonna stop me. And when you block me, I always say, I love it when they give me the excuse. If you had let me up and had a conversation with me, maybe we could come to an understanding. But baby, I don't care who you send my way. It isn't gonna change a single thing when you call me a bitch and block me. Because now I'm going to look even harder. Now I'm going to watch you even more. Yeah, I saw she went to the hospital yesterday. And I hope whatever it was, it seemed like it might have been her heart. I really hope that she doesn't suffer anything. But I'm going to talk about what she did after I got off live on Friday. Not yesterday. I don't wish ill, and I've said this and I will say it again. I don't wish homelessness. I don't wish hunger. I don't wish unaliving. I don't wish bad for any of them. That's not why I talk about them. And I find that when people get in lives and they say stuff like that, I shudder. Because we all get wrapped up in that. We all get accused of the one or two people who say the vile things. I wish they would stop. But what is it? Home of the brave, land of the free. Not a single thing I can do about it but ask people to stop. I'm here to talk about the fact that what you do on your daily life is take advantage of people who are kind. That's what I have a problem with. So I'm sorry that she was in the hospital. That's not going to change a damn thing. So, oh, please don't tap yourself out, baby. Tap until you feel the heart's tail and take a break. Mama doesn't care about the number at the end. I don't care. The only time I even noticed it was when people brought to my attention that it wasn't growing the other day. I very rarely look at the number until I see it as a part of the analytics. And I'll be like, oh, wow. I use it for two reasons only. To stay up and to get on the FYP. And so that's why I say, unless you get one of those tapper things that does it for you, which I hear after a minute it doesn't work anyway, don't kill yourself. When I change the photo, fill the heart's tail, and that's it. If you feel like doing it a little later, if I say something that's chef's kiss, if I say something that you want to snap your fingers to, snap the screen. Or I should say tap the screen instead of your two fingers. But other than that, take a break. Take a break. Because I'm really here for you to hear the message, not for me to get a million likes. So, although when that lady played the video about Gabby's court case and she got to like 2 million likes, I was right there. I broke my finger for that live. I'm not even going front. So, you know, people told me that she was talking trash about me. And mind you, I had said multiple times, like, I don't talk about Jalen. I don't talk about Lori. I don't talk about I can't do Nick Harris. There's a lot of people I do not cover that deserve covering, but there's something about them, who they are, how they talk, the way they act, I can't stand. I used to not be able to watch Beth and Devin either. They just irk something in my nerves, and I spend more time being irked than I do in paying attention. So there's no point. There's no, and for some of them, they're being covered heavily by other people, and it's just not my thing. And I said that while other people called Jalen a scammer, I had never seen it. And I don't take anybody else's word for it. I know that I could trust people. When they say that they're a scammer, I could trust it. But I'm not going to say it, and I'm not going to talk about them until I see it for myself. And I said the other day, I've seen the beginning. Like, I've seen the beginning for myself. That's all I said, though. And of course, you got people who love to run back and forth, which I don't understand. Pick a side, but whatever. I'm here for their loyal and faithful to hear the stories too. Because what I'm hoping is that while you're loyal and faithful to Jalen, that you're here and you're hearing me talk about other people, and you can see the pattern. That's why I do so many at once. Because I'm hoping that by you hearing about them over and over and over again, different people, different ages, different sexes, different sexual orientations, different races, that you can see that there's a pattern among them all. They don't always ask for the same things. They don't always ask the same way. But it's all the same in the end. So, when your faithful come in here so that they could go tell you what I say, I'm hoping that they also take away, wait a minute, I remember when that girl Digital said such and such. Or you should say that woman, because I'm grown. But anyway, so she went live after my live, or after I talked about her. Because then I came back and I told y'all the whole story and how she looked sad and she was shaking her leg to make sure her whole body shook, but only one side of her body was really shaking and not the other side. Yeah, and how in the end she got the extra rent money, which, do we have proof that the mother said that? We supposed to just take her word for it. After all the things she's done over the course of time, we're supposed to take her word for it that the mother went up not only once but twice? Which is her house. If that's what she want to do, I ain't mad at it. You didn't sign no paperwork, so what happens, happens. But then, wasn't it interesting that she also needed money for the part for her car, right? And she said that her friend said he would do it for free, but that she needed to pay him. With what money, Jalen? Or was that what the extra $150 was for? That you said was your rent? Because with what money were you paying him? When you couldn't buy the part and you couldn't pay the extra rent? I'm just saying. Don't get mad at me because your story doesn't make sense to someone who needs to make sense out of everything. Because if it doesn't make sense, it's probably not true. Shout out to Judge Judy. So as always, don't challenge me to a good time because I'm going to show up. So I went in a live. And I always say, I either say, I heard you was looking for me. Bitch, here I go. That's what I'm saying in the back of my mind. Or I say, I hear there's a problem. Something you want to talk about? Because I don't cower in the face of a challenge. So she was like, I hear you talking about me. And I am. And I am. For the first time, mind you. For the first time. And I am. So she was like, I want to know why. I say, let me up. If you think that I'm going to go back and forth with you from the comments, you have another thing coming. I'm not. Let me up. Mind you, part of the reason why I asked them to let me up in their live is because they have control. You don't like what I say, you could drop me. You think I'm disrespectful, you could drop me. You think I'm rude, you could drop me. And then you can say whatever you want. It's your life. Because I know they're not going to come to mine. Because they're going to be like, oh, you got 300 people in there that are going to talk mean to me, or the comments or whatever, or you're not going to let me have my say. So I come to you. It's your life. You have 100% control of what happens in your life. I'm here. But I'm not typing back and forth. Like, I'm not doing that. You want to know what I want to talk? And this is another reason why they don't need to let me in the box. Because they've heard me for themselves. She was probably listening. She probably heard what I said. And she certainly didn't want me to get in the box and say it. Not to the very people who give her money. Why would she ever? Hold on. Yeah, we saw Lazy Days. But she has another account. She'll be right back. Facts, Cindy Lou. So, I keep saying, let me up. So then she tells the audience that I stream her. And I don't know why they always say that. Because that is the opposite of anything. Like, there are several things that I can say. I don't stream and I don't post videos. Now, I may repost other people's videos that they post about them to tell the truth. But me, personally, I don't got time. It's not what I do. I try to give 9 hours to talking. That's not reflective of the number of hours that I watch, the amount of research that I do, the amount of notebooks that I use to take notes, the number of pens that I go through. The last thing I have time for is to stream somebody. Now, if I'm in a live where they are streaming somebody, but that's still not me. Like, that's not what I do. I don't open my live, have 5 people in the box while we listen to somebody else. Now, when I can't get into a live, those are my favorite lives of all. Again, I told y'all a little while ago, I like to talk to people who see it the same way I do. But that's not what I do. And in Jay Lane's case, I've never sat in a live where she was being streamed either. Never. Never, not once. Who's bothering to stream Jay Lynn at this stage? So, boo-boo, no. Don't give me a jacket that isn't true. And so when she was like, she's somebody who streams me. No, bitch, I don't. I do not. I will talk about you. I will post a picture of you so that people know who I'm talking about. But stream you? No. No. So I was like, listen, let me up. Let's have the conversation. But I knew she wouldn't. Because she did not want people to hear what I had to say. So she blocks me. But right before the block took place, I heard her say to people, oh, I just blocked the bitch. So I'm a bitch for talking about you one time. I'm a bitch, but you wouldn't let me in the box. You called me a bitch when you thought I was gone. Ain't that interesting, Jalen? So I went back in under expose, which is what I do 90% of the time, to let them know that there's another account. So block me all you like. So I go back in and I'm like, why'd you block me? She was like, because I asked you why you were talking about me. And I said, and I asked to come up. Like, let me explain myself. she blocks me again. Again, as if that's going to stop me. So I go back in, and I go back in quietly. I don't say nothing. Because I want to hear what you have to say. So, like I said, another person from awareness comes in, and Jalen is like, what did I do? Because I guess she thinks that because I said something, this other person, and they were like, I don't know. Like, I don't have anything. And they were like, oh. She was like, oh. Because people are trying to say that I'm a deceitful person. I didn't use that, but it fits. It fits. What I found interesting, though, was that it's amazing how happy-go-lucky she was this day. When all her expenses were covered. And then I thought to myself, that's probably when I watched her. Which is why I didn't see her run her scam. Because once she gets the money she's looking for, she's happy-go-lucky. And she wants to talk about the weather and what she ate and what's going on in their lives. And she's selling product from TikTok. Oh, this bra is so good. And it's funny because when she brought up the bra, I was like, I have that bra too. It's excellent. At least she wasn't begging and selling product at the same time. But I wouldn't doubt that she would do it if she needed to. But the problem is that if she did, she'd lose the ability to do that from TikTok, which is why she won't. But Jalen, since you've blocked both of my digital accounts, you are welcome to come here if you are big and bold enough. You were big and bold enough to call me a bitch when you thought I was gone. And what cracks me up about it is, while that's so disrespectful, which I'm not disrespectful. I speak the truth, but I'm never disrespectful. I'm not even like, when I talk to them, I'm not even like brutally honest or brutally blunt. I'm going to keep it a buck, but I try to be considerate of other people, right? And if I'm mean to them, I lose whatever standing I have with the audience. So why would I ever? Why would I ever? I don't need to curse you out. I don't need to call you a bitch. I don't need to do any of that. Because the facts stand where they stand. And if you weren't taking advantage of your audience, then you could have stood up and said, I wasn't taking advantage X, Y, and Z. Oh, late night snacker, do whatever you want. I don't care. Because now you have made me add you to my highlights. Now I'm going to watch you harder. Because to worry about me and the 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes you get in your live, that tells me more than I need to know anybody else saying. You blocking me turns me on. And I don't mean that way. I mean, it turns on my my need to know more. The way I said that was funny. Because I didn't mean it that way. And what gets me is, so you now have a safe space to stay for a whole month because They paid your rent. You now have a car that not a single one of them will get a ride in. And now, after getting all of that, you're selling them product too? Members, don't worry. There's only one person that makes that happen. Hey, Samuel. Now you want to sell them product too. Who did that? Somebody else did that not too long ago. Oh, no. It was Josh and Ida. As soon as they got the money for that electric bill, they came back battling. It was like, what? The people who support you just gave you $600 and something dollars, or almost $600, and the thanks they get is you battling? That's how I felt about this. The thanks they got was for you to sell them products off TikTok Shop? Be for real. Be for real. The last thing I wrote was, it's ridiculous. Yo, when the commentary in my notes cracked me up. Because I don't go back and spend a lot of time reviewing them. Because like I said, the moment I see the first couple of notes, or sometimes when I see their face, I can remember. I take the notes to try to be as accurate as possible. For a lot of this, especially when it's only been 2 days, I remember most of it. Jalen ain't coming in here. Amanda, what happened? Oh, me neither, Mother of the Year. Like, how do you turn your face? And that's I used to say this a lot. I call that willful ignorance. You have to literally turn your head and act like you didn't see and hear what you saw and heard. And then whatever excuse she gives you is the excuse you go by. Well, she went back every 2 days. Would you do that to your animals? Would you leave a bunch of dogs and cats in the house together unsupervised for 2 days? I don't leave White Sox and Kira here that long. And when I did have to go out of town, I went to a family reunion. I paid somebody to come over here every day and check on them. I also had a camera in the house so that I watched them myself. Would you do that to your animals? That's my only question to her supporters. Would you do it? So why are you turning a blind eye to the person who did? Little Dora, I know. But she had to make an excuse. I agree. I agree with you, Manders, 100%. Listen, me neither. It's so, Erica, it's so funny. Because when I go in the bathroom, I don't even turn the light on half the time. Because they're right there, especially Kira. And what's funny is that Mr. closes the door every time, no matter what. And as soon as he opens, they're sitting right there. Like, how dare you close the door on us? How dare you do that? Every time. It's hilarious. And then when he walks out, they scatter. Like, what you scattering for? And how do you leave dogs in the house? At least cats have a litter box, right? At least for some cats, anyway, you can leave enough food for a couple of days, right? But you got to clean the litter box every day. I clean mine multiple times a day. But dogs? So you intended to leave that place tore up. To leave dogs? Of course she didn't care about them animals. So again, I'm going to ask everybody who supports her, y'all are okay with that. And of course, you know, if they were put on the stand, they would be like, no, of course not. So then why are you still sending her money? Why are you still supporting her live? You come up here and stand for yourself and explain. Why haven't you gone off on Jalen? Because she's so fragile. So I'll be all the bitches you want me to be, Jalen. That doesn't bother me because we all know what I say. If you don't feed me, fund me, or fuck me, your opinion of me doesn't matter. Especially not somebody who doesn't take care of their animals. Somebody who, after getting a bunch of money, then tries to sell products so that I could earn a commission. You could kick rocks. Your opinion of me, when at your big grown age, you're not taking care of yourself, please. Please. I'll be all the bitches because I want to be seen as opposite to you. So I'll be all the bitches. Thank you very much. Yo, I have so many notes on Tim and Angela. It's crazy. By the way, I'm not sure. Wait, let me see. Y'all should see my notes from last time. I could barely even keep it up. But what I will want to say, although I'm not featuring her yet, because I haven't seen enough, I did watch Kayla Wisner, and she was feeding that baby at 11 p.m. And there were actually people in her chat saying, I'm so glad you guys are all on the same schedule. Let me explain something to you. There's something called the circadian rhythm. Our bodies naturally are awake during the day and sleep at night. There was a time where everything was closed at nighttime. There was no hunting and gathering at nighttime because that's natural to our bodies. When we as adults work overnight, that is not natural. But we do it because we have to. Or we do it because we need to have a schedule so somebody's always home. We do it because we need to make money. And if that's the job that's available, that's what it takes. That doesn't mean that your young child should live to that schedule. Now, he's not walking and he's not talking, which may be a natural delay, right? I can't say that because she has addicts watching him, that's the case. That wouldn't help it. But it could be a medical delay, right? Something they were born with. But to think that you're going to raise your child for until they go to school on this schedule, and then when it's time for them to go to school, it's going to snap back to reality? You're kidding yourself. You're going to keep your child on a schedule of dinner at 11 o'clock at night for 5 years. And then when it's time to go to school, you're magically going to switch it? By that time, you have changed your child's circadian rhythm. So, Kayla, I'm watching. 15, 17 months, something like that. It's a little baby. He's so cute. But I'm watching. Especially now that I know the history in the background, she'll get a little highlight. Oh, and this is one other thing I want to say. Her filter is working overtime. Because it slipped a couple of times. And I was like, woo, baby. Baby. And even yesterday, when she must have not been working, so she was outside with her man and her kid. I don't know if they're married or not. But the sore on her neck was so bad that she covered it with a banana, with a Band-Aid. That's what her face looks like. That filter covers that face, but not that neck. That's what her face looks like. And while it could be acne, it could also be the result of rug use. But let's say for now it's acne. I don't think so, but let's just say. Oh, I was talking about Kayla Weisner for a moment. Just to say that I pay attention. I was listening. Oh boy. I changed her photo too because look at those eyeballs. Now, I have not physically seen the proof. Oh, that's why. I have not physically seen the proof of Miss D doxing herself and showing what her payments to Lisa have been. But I saw in the chat that apparently she had sent her $68 Saturday. That she was sending her $100 a day for 10 days, I guess. But I haven't seen it. But what I can say is she definitely doxed herself because Lisa was furious that she had doxed herself. And why, you may ask? Because Lisa could no longer hold it over her head. Lisa couldn't say, Miss D, I'm going to dox you, I'm going to dox you, I'm going to show them everything. And this is my call out to all of you. Let her dox you. Reveal yourself. Dox yourself. And I'm not saying your personal information. But come out and be like, yep, I was supporting her because I thought she was telling the truth. Or I felt bad. Or I thought that if I got her to a certain point, she'd go to rehab. Or I just wanted to give her money because I was mad at what everybody was saying. I don't care what your reason is. Come out. Tell us a lie even. Oh, I really thought I was up. I don't care. Come out. Because then you can get off of her roller coaster. And if everybody comes out and she's going to turn on you, because that's what she does, we could stop this now. You will no longer feel obligated to give her money. And we can create the hole she needs to get in to either make a decision one way or another. As long as she is still able to get money, she's going to continue to play this game. She was in, quote unquote, a pizza shop After 2 o'clock saying she was still waiting for her pizza when she had no idea where money was coming from. Lisa, stop lying. 1 minute she's asking for money because she needs to get away from Nate, and 5 minutes later she's back with him. What was it last night? I need $33 for an Uber to go to my parents' hotel at 11:30 at night. You'd get there at midnight? And you want me to believe your parents want that BS? I was like, girl, your parents don't want you. Because if they wanted you, they could have come and got you all this time. All this time. They have left her there. What do y'all think you know better than her parents, who would have been living with her for the last, 6, 7 months? You think you know better than them? Like, where's the common sense? They let her live there for months. While they might have been upset that they had to move and do their entire apple cart and start over, I guarantee you the first night they laid in bed and didn't have to deal with Lisa, they probably slept well for a week. And I'm sure they're hearing about her wilding out on TikTok. I'm sure they're hearing from the neighborhood that she's doing the absolute most. And yet and still, they still haven't come and got her. I know they got evicted. But they didn't get evicted because of her. They should have. But it wasn't because of her. Right. She don't live in the same area, the same city, the same state. But they're afraid that people like me and others will drag them. And rightfully so. Because y'all can't tell me y'all don't see the same thing I see. But what I am offering an olive branch. I will not dog you out if you reveal yourself. I will not talk bad about you if you walk away from her. I promise. Now, if she doxes you, I don't care. Whatever people do to you is what they do. But if you walk away yourself and tell the truth about what's been happening behind the scenes, so that when she comes on here and says she hasn't eaten in 4 days, she hasn't eaten in 5 days, that we know she's lying. Because if Miss D was sending her that amount of money and she still had time to come on and cry for more and get more from other people, hopefully we can prevent her from getting anybody new. But by hiding in the shadows because you're afraid of some outcome that you don't know what it's going to be. Like, I haven't heard anybody drag Mrs. D. Have y'all? I haven't. Let her be an example. Kim is still getting love from people that I don't understand. When she was her main benefactor. Members, I agree with you. The less views, the less support. I'm just afraid about the person who comes in and sees the craziness and thinks, I could give her $20 if she hasn't eaten in 4 days. Because that could be the $20. And I know. Oh, okay, yeah. But I know a lot of people have very strong opinions about covering her, talking about her, watching her. And I went on like at least a hiatus for a second. When everybody else was. And for me, it got worse. And so I refused to not talk about her. I am of the opinion that her teeth have gotten worse. Let me see if I have that photo. Oh, dang, I do, but whatever. You can't tell me her teeth don't look worse. Especially on the side and the back. I'm sorry I didn't cross out her thing. But I'm only going to leave it up here for a second. She has gotten so much worse in so many ways. I was shocked. Oh, are you volume? The addiction apparently happened when the original owner sold the series of houses he owned in that neighborhood to somebody, and they wanted everybody out so that they could remodel, so that they could re-rent them and get more money. Although apparently they were also behind in some rent. If I'm not wrong, if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. This is a poor soul, but she did this to herself. She has had so many occasions that I thought were rock bottom that were not. And I'm new. Like, I'm newer to her than most. But I knew when she lost her son that was gonna be it. And then when she lost the dog, that would be it. And then when they put her in the hospital for, what was it, 48 hours, I thought that would be it. Then when they turned off the electricity, the gas, everything, I thought that would be it. Then when they kicked her out and the parents were saying she couldn't come there, I was like, that'll be it. Then when they got evicted and they didn't take her, I thought she'll tough it out for a little bit. But after a while, that'll be it. And each time, it's gotten worse, not better. Yeah, her pet roaches and her fly. I remember hearing the recording of the police dispatch when they went into her house one time. And they were saying there are pets in here, like the ASPCA or whatever local organization was going to come get them. And they were like, you're going to need to suit up. There are bugs on every inch of this house. Right, are you volume? That's why I said that when they laid in that bed in that hotel room, if that's where they went first, they slept well for a week. Like, we are done with her for right now. And so if her parents, her mother, and the father who she claims to love dearly, her stepfather, her sisters, her brother, are okay with leaving her where she is, why do you think that you are smarter than them? That if you send her money, it's better. You don't love her more than they do. You don't know her like they do. So why would you have the hubris to think that you know better? That your money is what's necessary to fix this? Even her adult children have nothing to do with her. You could say that the son might at some point, he's a minor, want to reach back out, but I doubt it. Because guess what? He now has a fuller family. He now has siblings and both sides of grandparents that he could see. Because she ain't around. He has a much fuller life. And so again, if y'all know any of them, Olive Branch. Now I can't say you won't get dragged by anybody. I don't control anybody else's page or platform. But release yourself. Release yourself. Right, it is almost time. Let's see if we get an obituary this time. She does have a granddaughter she's never seen. She has a niece she almost never sees. It's up to her. But I'm afraid I'm almost wishing jail. But the problem is you can get rugs in jail too. But I'm wishing any sort of confinement other than her being on the street. Because if she continues on the street and people on TikTok continue to find excuses to give her money, there's only one outcome. Jail straightened you out. I'm glad. But she's so addicted, she would need a serious detox. Like in a place that is managed for that. Or like, and I'm afraid to put her in isolation in jail because she'd probably get rushed to the hospital. Like, I think the best solution would be for her to be in a professional detox. But perhaps if she gets arrested, she goes to court, that could happen. Yeah, Sherry, I agree. I don't care. I don't think she cares what's available. She would take anything. If she has $5 and something she could buy for $5, she'd buy it. I don't think she cares. Yeah, Melissa, that's my concern. I mean, HF, the big C. I mean, Rack was her preferred at one time, but there are worse things. And for her to be like, "Oh, I walked to the thing every day," I don't know that I believe that. Haven't seen a bottle in a minute.
Yo,
Good morning.
good morning. Good morning. I'm at work right now.
Oh, okay. What's going on?
I don't know. How old are you? I'm 23.
Baby, you didn't pick the wrong live.
I'm 23.
Sorry. Not for now. We talking about serious things. Come on now. Y'all might be able to do that other places, and there might be times where I feel like playing the game, but not right now. Sorry. Baby, you're younger than my son. I don't know. I don't care. They don't need to go. I just now need to make a mental note. He was like, yo. So please dox yourselves. Get off her roller coaster. Then you don't gotta worry about it no more. There are people in Texas that could use your help right now. You want to help people? Donate to an animal shelter. Go to your local hospital and talk to someone who doesn't get visits. Hug babies that don't have parents. Go to a nursing home and go see somebody who hasn't had a visit in a long time. Go to a local school and they'll take any donation you want to offer. Go to a daycare and pay somebody's daycare bill for a week. Like, there's so many better things you could do with your money. Or put it in a bank and let it grow for your grandchildren. Like, I don't know. But find something else to do. Because this isn't benefiting anybody. And especially not her. If you tell me you care about her, then stop the money. Right. And I think a lot of these people are older. So, and if you don't have grandkids, I do. Put it away from my grandchild. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but get it together. Please. So let's talk about my favorites. Didn't see them on last night, did we? Tim, did I give you enough time to get out of bed? I hope I did, since you haven't slept well for the last 7 days. Or whatever you said. 4 days, whatever. Did I give you enough time to sleep? So you could come in here and watch me and then talk about me? Or no, I'm sorry. He won't talk about me, but he'll try to refute some of what I say in his live. Bro, I know you're listening. Or you got somebody recording me or something. But that's okay. I love it for you. So let's go back to Monday night. This is going to be a long one. That's why I left a half hour for it. And you were like, you've run out of EBT until the 8th. That's tomorrow, boo. So he's doing 5 for 25. Where I live, they not doing that on meat. But people have told me, and I've been corrected, that they do that other places. Just not where I live. There ain't no 5 for 25 for meat around these parts. Then he decided to go on a political rant, which, bro, that's the dumbest thing I have ever heard anybody begging for money to do. Because he started out with his opinion, which is his right, it's his page, cool. But then he was like, and if you don't agree with me, you can get out of this live. And I'm sitting here like, are you stupid? The very person who might have sent you the $65 you need for your hotel room, you just told them to leave. And when he realized it, he backed the fuck up. Excuse me. Like, sir, you can't be that you can't be that stupid to be this desperate. Why would you do that? You don't know what side of the political spectrum people are on. And I tell you all the time, I don't care. Like, that's not what this is about. Have whatever political feelings you want. At the end of the day, we are here now, and we're all going to have to live with whatever happens. I'm here to talk about scammers. If you're here to beg, I'm going to need you to stop talking about politics and religion, because that's never going to suit you. And Lot Lizard, I'm here for you, baby. So, now the politics were over, we're back to talking about hotel and food. When I tell you he backed up so quick, he was like, well, I'm not saying this and I'm not saying that. Excuse me, a few minutes ago you told people if they didn't agree with you, they could get out. And when you realize there were a number of people in there that didn't agree with you, you backtracked. Tim, pick a lane. Now I have one other complaint, and I said this the other day. How dare your thankful, grateful wife sit in the background, lay in the background, take a nap in the background, and never come over and actually thank a single soul? You get up there every day and complain and whine and talk about her health, and people are so concerned, and you ask her in the background, how you feeling today? Oh, well, she's better today than she wasn't yesterday. And she don't have the whatever to get on her 2 feet and walk over and show her face and tell people thank you? How dare she be so rude? This is the other thing. Why would awareness be in your life asking about hotel rooms? And you claim you don't want to take the bait, but you take it every single time. I will often listen from the outside, but a couple of things that have been said that he has responded to in the comments made me go in. Yes, Tim, I'm in there sometimes. Not always, but sometimes I'm in there. And the last time I was in there, it wasn't anybody from awareness. It was your mods asking, do you have money for the room? Did you eat? It wasn't random people. Random people don't even know until you say you need it. It was your mods. And then on that particular night, he was like, oh, well, we have the room at $65 a night. We have it until 11 a.m. Then he was like, but the awareness of people are going to say I'm dry begging. If it fits the description, own it. And then he went on this rant about how, well, I need this and my wife needs that and she needs a purse and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, okay, I'm dry begging. Sir, you don't got to prove it to us. We already know. We already know. And then someone in the comments was like, you should buy your wife a purse. And he took that opportunity to say, oh, I would, but I have 37 cents. Well, then get off your ass and go do something. Go wrap yourself around a pole and make some money. Do something. But it's our problem that you only have 37 cents. And he claims, of course, that he's got things set up, but he's not going to tell us anything about it. And I thought to myself, well, that's good. That would be what I recommended. Don't say jack. But then I was like, it's so insidious that he wouldn't tell people he was working so he could keep begging. Like, that's how badly of a moral compass that I think they have. That he would have an actual full-time job and they would still get on here at night and beg. Oh, Steve Crick is here. Well, I guess I gave you enough time to sleep, boo. Is Lot Lizard watching for you so she could text you at 6:30 in the morning to say that somebody's talking about you? Well, I didn't talk about you until 9 o'clock. So I hope I gave you enough rest. And Steve, don't even say nothing in the comments because you ain't willing to come up here. So keep your mouth shut. Don't mute them though, because heaven forbid they'll be complaining, Steve Crick got muted. Then he comes on, let's see, what day is this? Saturday. And as usual, people come in, how are you, how are you, how are you? Oh, I'm worried and stressed. I'm worried and stressed. Guess what? We don't even need to know what you're worried and stressed about because it's always the same thing. How y'all gonna eat and where y'all gonna lay your head? Mind you, I remember where y'all spent days in the car. But it's so hot for you guys and the dog. Then do something. Hey, all for one, good morning. If you weren't here, I suggested that you wrap your body around a pole and make some money. Do whatever it is you gotta do. But I'm sick of seeing you on here begging like you aren't as old as you are and know how to do some day labor. Mow some lawns. Do something besides expecting people on this app to fund everything for you. And this was wait, I want to say this. I forgot this. I got to go back to his politics conversation. Because one of the things he said was that they broke the law, talking about undocumented immigrants. They broke the law by coming here not through the right process. Fair enough. Tim, is your car registered and insured? Because if it's not, then that's breaking the law. Are we holding other people to a different standard, sir? How about we put you in, what are they calling it down here? Alligator Alcatraz. Because you breaking the law. I love how he could sit there and be high and mighty and righteous, and this has nothing to do with your politics. And talk about how other people are breaking the law while he breaks the law. Correct, members. Correct. Good morning, Trolla. How dare you? Anyway, on to the next one. So he's stressed and worried. And then he said that somebody on Reddit reached out to him who used to be a part of awareness and told him that awareness is beefing. Okay, let's admit that we beef. That we have problems with each other, that we don't like the way each other does it. What does that mean, Tim? How does that affect your standing in the world in any way? How does that make you better? People in this world tussle every day because they have a differing opinion. They don't like each other. I just don't like the way your name looks on TikTok, so we're going to tussle. How does that make you and what you do any better? I don't give two kitties who told you what. But what I love is how he always pretends like it's somebody who texted him or told him or called him or met him on Reddit. It's always somebody else with you, Tim. It's never you. Steve Crick ain't you. Somebody met you on Reddit. Tim, we know you watch us. So all you gotta do is watch a couple of different lives and you can hear about beef. Why you have to make up a Reddit story? And if anybody who used to be a part of awareness, who's no longer a part of it because they got delusioned because some things that happen sometimes they don't agree with, and you are happen sometimes they don't agree with, and you already said they still hate your guts. So them telling you that did what? The whole time I'm like, okay, and okay, and it was funny because he kept trying to bring it up. Like, and the guy on Reddit, and then someone would be like, do you have what you need? Oh no, we still need money for the room. He couldn't even keep focused. Right. What does it have to do with you? How does it make you look any better? Let me just tell you something. We may not agree on a lot of shit, but we agree about you. We are in line. We are stacked together when it comes to you. We may not spit on each other if we were on fire, but we will stand shoulder to shoulder about you and your nonsense. So don't worry about what beef we got going on. It doesn't affect you in any way. I promise. We will all still drag you. I promise. I know it's the mods. We gonna get to that. Then he said that he was fired and she was fired because they got sick of the phone calls that they got from people on TikTok. And then he said it was on his separation notice. I need to see that separation notice. I need to see that McDonald's put in their separation notice with you that they were tired of getting phone calls from people on TikTok and that's why you were let go. I need to see that notice. Correct. No mention of the Facebook drama. It was people on TikTok calling. And then he said, my wife got fired for the phone calls about me, and that's being looked into. By who? By who? Because if you forgot, you're in an at-will state. McDonald's didn't have to give you a reason at all. I heard him say TikTok. He said awareness in the past, but on this particular night, he said TikTok. And so if they don't have to give you a reason at all, why would they give you that reason? When the accusation was that you were begging for money in the parking lot. That is what you told everybody originally. And then he tried to bring it up again, but that's not what you said. What you said was that it was on your separation notice that they were tired of phone calls coming from TikTok. And it said it on hers as well. I need you to provide proof of that, sir. Yeah. Her crying in the background. But we never get to see her tears. Correct, Shell. Now I can see him dropping her off to work and then talking to people in the restaurant and outside begging for money. I can see that because he's the beggar. And they fire her because her husband has done it more than once. Like I could see that being the thing. 2 weeks in. You need to post that letter. Steve, let your boy know we need to see the separation letters. Stop blaming us for stuff. Stop telling people it was us when you quote unquote have proof that it was people on TikTok, that it was people in awareness. Post the letter. I know. I talked about that the other day. If there was something you wanted to do, Google is free. You don't need somebody in the comments to say, oh, you could get it in 6 weeks. Look it up. You want your CDL? Look it up. What, you gonna get a rig that she could sleep in the back of and you could have the dog and the microwave and all of that? You could do that when you own the rig. I don't know if you can do that when you're using somebody else's because their insurance is on the line. But whatever. You're just trying to make people believe that you're looking into serious work. Go have a seat. Post the letter. And wait, hold on. I wrote down his words exactly. They got tired of the calls from TikTok and released us both. She was let go because of the calls on me, and that is being looked into further. By who? Who's looking into it? And I wrote down, he can rewrite history so well. First, he was like, yeah, we asked for help a while ago before we started working. You worked for 2 weeks. You were asking for money less than a month ago. But it was a while ago now. Oh, we asked for help a while ago. You worked for 2 weeks. And now you're right back to asking for help. You asked for help 3 days ago. Okay. Then he's like, we borrowed money from an older lady, like not like an invalid, not like an older lady. And we were paying her back until awareness got us fired. Had we not put the pressure on you, you wouldn't have paid her back because you wouldn't have blocked her otherwise. Correct my face overlay. They got themselves, of course they did. And then he talked about and this incensed me. If y'all can't tell, this live incensed me. And then he started to talk about the young lady that they screamed at. And they gave us even more information that I didn't know. So I'm thinking that this lady is around their age, maybe a little bit younger. No, she's in her 20s. Closer to 30 than the 20, but in her 20s. How, y'all aren't friends. That's an imbalance. That's a power imbalance. I see why you wanted pictures of her though, if she's in her 20s. I see why you threatened to talk to her daddy. Because I remember thinking, like, if a man said that to me, I would be like, go ahead. Because I don't care if he is mad at me. What he going to do? Be mad at me? But now I know why he did that. Because she's in her 20s. But I gathered that the reason why the video of that live has not gone public because the young lady, well, I think her name is Kimberly, said that it would be triggering. And he asked, could anybody in awareness, which he's blocked us all, so of course we can't. But he asked the question, could anybody explain how she could be triggered by his voice if she can listen to him live and listen to old recordings of him? Let me explain it to you, Steve Crick Tim. Let me open your ears and listen. Your regular everyday voice is not the voice you used when you were banging and yelling and screaming at her from the other side of the door, her only way to get out. The night of the incident, where it was so loud that people in a live could hear you and your wife banging at her door and window and screaming loudly, is what is triggering. That event is what is triggering. She doesn't want to hear that night again. It has nothing to do with your everyday, regular, degular voice. You scared her that night. You intended to intimidate her that night, which is why you did what you did. And if what you did was okay, why did the owner come outside and caution you? Whether it was awareness that called the police, Kimberly that called the police, or a neighbor that called the police, what you did was outrageous. Because it was incredibly hypocritical for you to talk about us bullying you while you bullied a young woman. So did you listen? The triggering is the event. She doesn't want to hear that again. It has nothing to do with your everyday regular voice while you're begging for money on TikTok. Did you get it? Did you understand what that meant? Or are you going to go back and cry to your audience talking about, can awareness explain what's triggering about my voice? If she could listen to it on a live? That's why. That set me off. It sounds like a DV abuser who says you made me do it. Or someone who abuses children sexually and says, well, she was coming on to me. It's her fault that you triggered her. It's her fault. At your big age, you should have been like, well, now we know we couldn't trust her and move on. You act like children, but want to be treated like adults. And I promise you, on your best day, Tim, camera on or not, you could never go back and forth with me. Not in my audience or yours. So don't worry about it. You could take that. You could please unpin that. Go up. I'm not a hater. I'm a truth teller. And you don't like it. Because I don't have to go real life. I don't have to follow you. I don't even live anywhere near you. I don't have to follow you. I don't have to take pictures of you. I just listen to the words that come out of your mouth. And the actions that you do. They were upset because Kimberly came to awareness and talked about the truth. She was upset because Kimberly told the truth that he asked her for photos. And when that came out, there are people who got phone calls from other people that said, yes, he asked me to do the same thing. That's why she was so mad. Why was she in your room? Why was a 20-year-old in your room? Why are you hanging out with a child? In my opinion, but that's because of my age. That's a child to me. So let's see. Sorry, guys. I said I wasn't going to go over, but give me a minute. He then said, I guess when you ask for help, you're a scammer. And I said, no, you're a straightforward beggar, but that falls on the spectrum of scamming. And the fact that you asked people for money, told them you would pay them back, fed them along when you knew you wouldn't, and then blocked them because you couldn't, that's scamming, Tim. And why is it our business that you ask people for help? Because you aren't doing what you need to do to get your life in order. Enough is enough. You've gotten all the help you deserve. And then, of course, he can't do Instacart because the car isn't in good shape. That's the new excuse, Tim. It used to be that there wasn't enough business in their area to make any money, and that the money they made ended up having to go back to gas. So why bother to do that? Now it's the car isn't in good shape. But how about it's because the car isn't registered and insured, so you couldn't do it anyway? Mr. Other people are criminals. What if they sent you back to your homeland? Because America ain't it. Because you break the law. Let's make that the rule for everybody. Then he said they don't have health insurance. They go to the health department for everything. I'm going to just leave that right there. And you know it's getting bad, and this is why we got to be proud of ourselves and we are being effective. You know it's bad when the mod is the one sending the money. No, you don't charge them, but they feel obligated to get it started. When nobody else is sending you money, your mod has to do it to get it started. Sir, it's starting to fail. And all she gave you was enough to get some food. Were you going to go to the grocery store and get food that night? No, you guys were going to go buy something from a restaurant. Tim, the end is coming. And guess what? For everything that you do, for as long as it takes, I'll be here watching. You would have to block every single person in your mods to get me out of there. I promise. I'll be watching. And so someone kind came in and I believe paid for their room for a week. So he'll probably be back on and back on private because tomorrow they get their food stamps, so they won't need money for food. And the hotel room is paid for a week. This is my question. Or not even my question. Tim, you'll be back on public because you will not have worked in enough time to pay for the hotel room when the week is over. So, welcome back to public. I'll be there too. But I'll be there when you're private as well. I'll be there too. Okay? There'll be a lot of us still there while you're private. So I hope I gave you enough rest this morning. I hope I gave you some things to think about. I hope I gave you content for your page because now awareness has become your content. But we know what you're doing. We're here. We're going to stay here. We stay until we get rid of you. And when you come back, we're back. So let me give you some advice. Go away. Stop begging. And then we have no content. And you and your wife could live peacefully ever after. But as long as you are on social media, and I'm everywhere, I have accounts everywhere. As long as you are on social media and begging for money, we're going to be here too. Yes, that's his wife. So that's it for me. Sorry I went over 8 minutes. Hey, Guardians of Valor. Great! Now you got Guardians of Valor, sir. I'm dead. I'm dead. We appreciate you, sir. You know what I say? I appreciate everyone who spends 5 minutes or the whole 3 hours. I appreciate you. You guys are my motivation to keep doing this. I love y'all. Keep doing what you're doing because it helps me. And I hope that I help you. I'm going to end it here. Thank you, Steve Crick, for making an appearance. I'll be looking forward to you talking about it. You probably won't talk about it today because I've said you're going to talk about it today. You probably won't, but you will because you have no self-control. Zero self-control. And when somebody ruffles your feathers, you can't take it. You can't take it even a little bit. But guess what? I don't live 2 doors down. And you don't scare me. Neither one of you. You come banging on my door, you won't be walking back. There's no man that's going to protect you. I live in Florida. So I suggest you don't even try to do that. But I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Please pray for Texas. Please pray for them babies. Please pray for the animals. Please hug your loved ones because tomorrow isn't promised. Please do self-care every day. I don't care if it's 15, 5, or 1 minute. And I want you guys to have a wonderful day. I will either see you in the streets or I will see you Wednesday morning. Have a wonderful rest of the morning and afternoon. You know what I'm about to do? I'm about to go take a nap. Because none of this keeps me up. You guys have a great day. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I appreciate you spending time with me. Oh, the kids is ready. The kids is already ready to go to sleep. Remember Friday when I went late at 10? I didn't see Kira the entire time. And I was like, I realized because usually at 10 o'clock, I'm going to sleep. So that's our nap time. And as soon as I was done, White Sox got to the end of the bed and passed out. They know the routine. They know what's going to happen. No worries. No worries. If you came from the FYP, I hope you enjoyed. I go live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. If you can't make it at 6:30, come whenever you get up. Don't matter. I want to talk about somebody. Thank you, guys. I'll see you in the streets or I'll see you Wednesday. I'm out.